What within me creates the need to be late? What would change in my life if I always arrived on time? Is being late my choice or a habit? Whom or what am I trying to stay loyal to by being late? What story am I telling about myself through my lateness? What if I were always on time? How would it affect my life? What am I trying to gain by being late? What am I avoiding by being late? Is being late a form of communication I'm unable to express in words? Who in my family used to be late, and what did it mean? What would my life look like without being late? What if I no longer allowed myself to be late? How would that feel? Is being late my way of trying to control the situation? What emotions are tied to being late for me? How would I feel if I were always on time? Does being late help me avoid responsibility? What do I lose by being late? What if I accepted punctuality as a part of my identity? What do I gain by being late? What are my earliest memories related to the concept of time? Do my latenesses have their roots in the past? To whom or what am I trying to prove something by being late? What beliefs about myself does my lateness reinforce? What if I didn't have to worry about being late? How would that change my daily life? Is my body signaling resistance when I'm supposed to be on time? What kind of energy does lateness represent in my life? What does my attitude toward time say about me? Is being late my way of expressing rebellion? What would happen if I gave up being late? What if I viewed lateness as an opportunity for personal transformation? Is being late protecting me from something I find difficult? What patterns did my family pass on to me regarding time? Is being late my unconscious gift to someone? What do my latenesses reveal about my relationships with others? What kinds of energies do I attract through being late? What if I stopped procrastinating and started acting in alignment with time? Is being late a form of escape for me? What if I saw time as my ally? What inner relationships am I healing when I'm late? Does being late allow me to avoid intimacy? What would happen if I took full responsibility for my time? What if I gave up excuses and started respecting my own time and the time of others? Is being late a form of expressing unspoken emotions? What lessons does lateness bring me? What beliefs about the world are hidden behind my lateness? How can I create more lightness and spaciousness around my sense of time? Does being late help me avoid confrontation? What if I treated punctuality as a sign of respect for myself and others? What limitations can I release by looking at my lateness? What possibilities open up when I release the need to be late? What kind of relationship with time would I like to create? Is my lateness a way of asserting my value? What in my belief system creates resistance to punctuality? What if I stopped feeling pressure around time and allowed myself greater flexibility? Does being late reflect my emotions toward other people? In what ways do my latenesses affect both me and others? What feeling arises when I know I'm late? How can I invite more harmony into my time management? What would be possible in my life if I never arrived late again? What if I started noticing the benefits of being on time? Is being late my way of controlling relationships? What can I change in myself to better cooperate with time? What benefits do I perceive in being late? Is being late protecting me from something I find difficult or uncomfortable? How can I invite more harmony into the time-related aspects of my life? What if I viewed lateness as an expression of my fears and tried to overcome them? Does being late affect my self-esteem? What emotions come up when I think about being late? What does time represent for me? What beliefs about my worth are tied to my lateness? Does being late reflect my emotions toward specific people or situations? What if I gave up being late in order to feel greater peace in life? How can I turn my lateness into a source of personal transformation? Are my latenesses a way of expressing myself? What in my life can I heal by looking more deeply at my lateness? What kind of energies do I want to invite into my life to be punctual? Does being late stem from resistance toward my environment? What if I knew that my lateness was blocking my professional success? How can I find lightness in my relationship with time? Is being late my way of avoiding change? What beliefs about time have I inherited from my family? What will happen if I begin to see time as my ally? How does being late affect my relationships and their quality? What if I planned my time so I never had to be late? Is being late a way of avoiding conflict? How can I break the pattern of being late? What emotions arise when I know I am on time? Are my latenesses a sign of resistance to rules or norms? How can I bring more space and calm into time management? What if I could accept that time is not an enemy, but an ally in my life? Does being late affect my sense of control? What am I trying to communicate through my lateness? What lessons does lateness bring me? does being late reflect my attitude toward the future? What inside me causes me to be late? What if I saw each moment of lateness as a chance to change my habits? Are my latenesses a form of protection from stress? How can I transform being late into a more conscious relationship with time? Is my lateness a form of expressing rebellion? How can I view time as my ally rather than my enemy? What is blocking me from fully committing to punctuality? What if I felt more confident and reduced my lateness? What new opportunities open up when I allow myself to be punctual? What limitations can I release by reflecting on my lateness? How do my beliefs about time influence my actions? How can I find joy in my relationship with time? Is my lateness a way of avoiding responsibility? What if I accepted that punctuality impacts my relationships with others? What meaning do I assign to lateness in my life? What do I discover about myself when I reflect on being late? How can I invite more lightness into my approach to time? Is being late my way of avoiding difficult conversations? How can I heal my relationship with time through understanding my lateness? What if I learned to sense the moments when my lateness is driven by resistance? What feelings do I experience when I think about punctuality? Does my lateness affect my well-being? How can I build trust in my relationship with time? What new perspectives emerge when I stop being late? How can I connect punctuality with greater authenticity in my life? What if I stopped fighting with time and started respecting it by planning ahead? What unmet needs are hidden behind my lateness? Is being late an expression of my resistance to others' expectations? What emotions am I trying to suppress by being late? Is my lateness a way of avoiding competition? What can I do today to notice more of life's beauty? What if I planned time every day for a calm and mindful preparation before leaving? How does my personal history influence my present? What would happen if I fully accepted myself as I am? What inherited family beliefs are guiding my life? Could what I consider my limitation actually be my strength? How can I open myself to love I have not yet recognized? What if I realized that being late does not help me manage stress? What holds me back from seeing the full potential in my life? Who or what needs my forgiveness so I can free myself from the past? What emotions am I trying to hide from myself? What might be possible if I released all unconscious fears? What is my body trying to tell me? What if I stopped treating lateness as normal and saw it as something to change? What lessons can I learn from my most difficult experiences? What am I drawn to but afraid to admit? How can I better listen to my inner voice? What gifts lie within my most difficult relationships? What is behind my anxiety about the future? What if I reduced my lateness to a minimum? How would it affect my sense of control? What kind of energies can I invite into my life to feel more at peace? Which aspects of my life need more respect and attention? What change can I make that would bring me the greatest sense of ease? What do I truly want to create in my life? What patterns do I keep repeating that I can now release? What if I started respecting other people's time as much as I respect my own? What does complete harmony in relationships mean to me? What question could I ask myself to see reality from a different perspective? What makes me avoid my deepest desires? What opportunities does each encounter with another person bring me? How can I allow myself to live in greater alignment with myself? What if I noticed how being late affects my sense of guilt? What do my reactions to others say about my unspoken emotions? What is blocking me from fully opening up to abundance? What roles have I taken on in my life, and do I need all of them? How can I better express my authenticity? What am I trying to hide from the world and from myself? What if I let go of the belief that I can always wait until the last minute? What limitations do I impose on myself through my beliefs about reality? What can I release to experience more joy in my relationships? How can I look at my life with gratitude? What do my deepest desires reveal about my soul? How can I open myself to the energy of love that surrounds me? What am I trying to understand through my suffering? How can I allow myself more freedom and lightness? Who in my family influenced my attitude toward love? What spaces can I create to feel more harmony? What do my closest relationships say about my values? What if I stopped postponing things and started acting right away? How can I see life as a gift? What does my way of communicating with others say about me? How can I view my life with greater gentleness? What is trying to get my attention through my emotions? How can I better support my body and soul? What if I learned how to manage my time without the stress of being late? What can I do today to feel more freedom? What energies can I release to begin feeling wholeness? What in my relationship with time needs healing? How can I allow myself to fully trust life? What value do I assign to punctuality? What if I accepted that punctuality is a key to success in my career? Is being late my unspoken no? What beliefs about time are preventing me from making changes? Is being late an attempt to regain control over my life? Does my lateness reflect an inner resistance to a particular event? How can I look at being late with love and curiosity? What if I built my daily plans in such a way that I never have to be late? What does a lack of punctuality truly mean to me? Is my lateness a result of chaos or a need for harmony? What patterns did my family pass on to me regarding punctuality? Does being late reflect my unconscious fears? What values does my lateness reflect? What if I considered which emotions lie at the root of my lateness? Am I ready to trust myself and my time management? What beliefs about success and failure are tied to my being late? Is being late my hidden resistance to change? What can I do to build a more positive relationship with time? How can I shift my approach to punctuality to be more supportive? What if I learned to plan in a way that always allows extra time for the unexpected? Is being late a way of sabotaging myself? What energies lie behind my being late? Is lateness a way of drawing attention to myself? What emotions are triggered when I become aware of my lateness? Does being late protect me from the feeling of rejection? What if I treated every situation as an opportunity to be on time? What relationships can I heal by becoming more punctual? What does being late say about my attitude toward promises? Is being late my hidden request for understanding? What patterns can I release by changing my approach to time? Is my lateness the result of poorly defined boundaries? What if, instead of being late, I started leaving earlier to avoid stress? What opportunities does reflecting on lateness bring me? Is being late a form of expressing disagreement with social pressure? How can I bring more clarity to how I plan my time? What would happen if I saw time as a gift? What past relationships might be influencing my approach to punctuality? What if I eliminated distractions and focused on timely action? Does being late reflect my view of my own self-worth? What would I like to change in my relationship with time? Is being late a way to maintain a sense of independence? What emotions arise in me at the thought of always being on time? What lessons can I draw from my lateness? What if I realized that being on time gives me greater freedom and a sense of control? How does being late affect my professional relationships? Are my delays a result of not accepting current events? How can I bring more joy into managing my time? Is being late my way of expressing creativity? What new possibilities can I invite in by being punctual? What if I learned how to prioritize and change my approach to time? What internal blockages can I discover through being late? Does my lateness reflect my relationship with authority? What beliefs about the future influence my lateness? Does being late give me a sense of freedom? What would I like to discover about myself while reflecting on the topic of time? What if I didn't have to stress about being late because I planned my tasks in advance? What if I allowed myself a bit of flexibility without giving up punctuality?